something about the kids making noise here.
Okay, not now.
Assure our future here.
Not now.
I want to tell you about that.
Okay, back to the names a little bit. Okay, yesterday we're learning about the various different names. Now, what happens if a woman was married to somebody, the husband passed away, she remarried. Now they had a kid, a son. And the wife wants to name him like the first husband's name.
What?
A woman was married. Relax. A woman was married to a man. He passed away. She remarried. Now she has a son. She wants to name the boy after her first husband. So the din is, the second husband cannot, if he doesn't want that name, she's not allowed to give him that name. Because it's, well, let me discuss this halacha. It manifests itself in many different dinim. When a woman is married to a man, and then the husband dies, and she marries somebody else, so not always, but listen to what I'm saying. The connection to the first husband is over. The connection to the first husband is over. Now, if she has kids from the first husband, then halachically it's not over. In other words, because there's still this connection. But nevertheless, if the woman who's married the second time wants to deal with things of the first husband, according to halacha, she needs to get permission from the second husband. So let's say she wants to keep the first husband's yard site, or something like that. So halachically, in order to do that, she has to get permission from the husband. The husband should give her if he wants. I mean, sometimes he dafka don't want, whatever. But so if the husband doesn't want the baby to be named on the name of the first husband, so then it says in Poskim you shouldn't do it. By the way, what I mentioned yesterday, that if a baby is stillborn, and you do a bris, and you give him a name, I heard, but I see it doesn't bring it down, that, remember I said you named the baby like a name from before the flood. But I see in this sefer he doesn't bring it down. I heard it from reliable sources. I just didn't see it. But again, in this sefer that's talking about names, he doesn't mention it.
But he mentioned that they gave it.
Yeah, that says you give a name and a bris and everything. Now, some people don't call their son's name Shalom. Why didn't you call the name Shalom? Because Shalom is the name of Hashem. So they don't do it. But we don't, people are not makpid. Like we said, one of the rabbis was Shalom they read, so his name was Shalom. Some people say you can give names of people, even like Malachim. You can name a kid Rafal, Michal, Gavriel. These are common names. Some people say there's a fourth Malach in the gang, or Uriel. So some people say you shouldn't name Uriel. People say you could name Uriel. There are various different customs. But the bottom line is that Michal, Gabriel, and Rafal, that everybody, the meaning is to do. What?
If someone's name is Shalom, do you say that?
What? Oh, so that is exactly what I was coming to now. Now, if there's in the Chuvis, it's written, what happens, now you're not allowed to say, and people do this, but they're unaware that you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to say Shalom Aleichem in a mikveh. You're not allowed to say Shalom Aleichem in the bathroom. You're not allowed to say Shalom Aleichem in a swimming pool.
Also Shabbat Shalom, right?
What? Shabbat Shalom, also you shouldn't, but it's worse. Shalom Aleichem is really if you look in the book of Ruth, okay, and when Boaz met the workers, he said, Hashem Aleichem. And they answered, Aleichem Hashem. So in the time of Boaz, in the time of the Nevi'im and the Shoftim, they wouldn't say Shalom Aleichem. They would say Hashem with Hashem's real name, Hashem Aleichem. Then it got to a point that you'd be saying Hashem's name in vain. So they made it, instead of Hashem Aleichem, they may change it to Shalom Aleichem. Why Shalom Aleichem? Because in essence, Shalom is also a name of Hashem, but it's not a name that you're not allowed to say. You could say Shalom, 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 because it means peace. So in halacha it says you're not supposed to say Shalom Aleichem, because Shalom Aleichem in a mikveh is like saying Hashem Aleichem. And in a mikveh you're not allowed to say Hashem's name. In the bathroom you're not allowed to say Hashem's name. So all those places where you're not allowed to say Hashem's name, then you're not allowed to give Shalom Aleichem. That's what it says in halacha. So the question is, Rabbi Shafine says the truth about other people. What happens if a guy's name is Shalom? Can you say, hey, you come here? Or can you say, hey, Shalom, let's go? You know? So over there, they all write that you could say, call him name Shalom. Because you don't mean, Shalom Aleichem means Hashem be with you. Shalom is a name. You're calling him a name. It's a tam to carry Shalom. So you're calling him Shalom. So it's not a problem saying that name in the bathroom, in the mikveh, or something like that.
Is that also why there's no bracha when you go to the mikveh? Is there a bracha?
Men don't have, women have a brach when they go to the mikveh.
Can you say hi, how are you?
Yeah. If you speak Russian, you can say, hi, how are you? Shabbat Shalom should not be said in the mikveh. You could say Good Shabbos, but I remember growing up, there were people that wouldn't say the word Shabbos in the mikveh. They would say the Zibiter, the seventh day. My moil was a very chassidish in Vaad Rabbonim Lubavitch. I was Satmar Shchita. My bris was a very big Rav in Chicago. His name was Rav Meisels. He was the Weitzner Rav. He was close with the Rebbe, but he was a very big guy in the Satmar Kehila. So I remember when we used to meet him in the mikveh in Chicago, he would tell, we would go with my father when we were kids. So he would tell us, oh, ich gemacht den bris, I made this guy's bris, and this guy's, not mine, but my brother was bris with Shabbos. He said, I got a bris of the Zibiter, yeah? He didn't say Shabbos, because he didn't want to say the name Shabbos in the mikveh. So you could say, I mean, people do say, you could say Good Shabbos, but you shouldn't say Shabbos Shalom, because again, Shalom is still the name of Hashem. It's the name of a person, you could say. That's not a big deal.
You cannot also talk about halacha in the mikveh either.
The truth is, if you want to be technical, you shouldn't talk at all in a mikveh. You shouldn't talk at all in a bathroom. No, it's brought down in halacha. The world doesn't do that. Everybody talks. All the news of the world happens in the mikveh before it happens in the world. You know, in the mikveh they decide, the guy soaking in a hot mikveh, they're deciding what's going to happen in the world. So they're running the world in the mikveh. So they do talk. But ideally, a person should minimize talking in a bathroom, mikveh, things like that. But you can't talk learning in a mikveh. You're not allowed to talk and learning. Sometimes if somebody asks a halacha question, you can answer without giving a reason, just yes or no. You know, can I do this? You could say yes. To stop somebody from doing something wrong in a mikveh, that you're allowed to. Let's say technically somebody comes into the mikveh and says, oh, shalom aleichem. You're allowed to tell him in the mikveh, you're not allowed to say that. Instead, because then you're stopping somebody from doing something which is not. But you're not allowed to talk and learning in the mikveh. Even sometimes you're not supposed to think in the bathroom, Torah, think in the mikveh. But our problem should be that we think Torah in the bathroom. You know what I mean? That should be our problem. What? What? Yeah, the people say Good Shabbos.
When you say mikveh, what do you mean?
In the room where people are dressed and undressed. In other words, let's take for instance our mikveh pico, yeah? You walk in where the guy sits, that's not a problem. There's no holiness there. Once you go in, past so then that's already the room where people are dressed and undressed, and that's the mikveh area. Okay, some people write you shouldn't name kids Unkelis or Yisrei, because they were converts, you should name after them. Okay, now, just to mention for a few minutes, the din also about names, because I think we wrapped it up with the name story. There's a lot of books written on names, but you have Hebrew names and you have Yiddish names. Okay. Now, Hebrew names are spelled in Hebrew. Not Hebrew names, even Jewish names, but not Hebrew names are spelled according to Yiddish. This is what it says in halacha. in Shchunoch and Even Ezer.
I mean biblical.
Huh?
I mean Torah name.
Torah names you spell in Hebrew. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Yaakov is a Hebrew name, Yaakov. But let's say you have a name, Mendel. Now, if you'd write Mendel in Ivrit, it would be Mem Nun Daled Lamed. Okay, that's how you'd write Mendel, Mem in Hebrew, based on Hebrew grammar. That's how you write it. But the name Mendel, you can't write like that. So you have to write it Mem Ayin Nun Daled Lamed, because in Yiddish, a segol. Okay, in Yiddish, there are no vowels. Letters are vowels. Letters are vowels in Yiddish, meaning an aleph as a vowel could be a or a. Sometimes if it's not an a, sometimes you can have a short a, a long a, a or a. So, okay, like Los Angeles, let's say you're writing a ksuba, okay? And people do it, but according to halacha, let's say you're writing in a ksuba, the word Los Angeles. Okay, someone's getting married, you're writing a ksuba Los Angeles. Now in Hebrew, you would write it, Lamed Vav Samach, Los, Aleph Nun Gimel Ga'anga, whatever. That's the way you would write it in Hebrew. But if you're writing a ksuba, and that applies to names of people also. Los Angeles is not a Hebrew word. It's another language. So another language, you write it in Yiddish. That's what it says in Even Ezer. So for instance, Los Angeles, in halachic way of writing Los Angeles would be Lamed Aleph Samach, because Aleph is a or a, okay? And J, so in Hebrew, J is a gimel, right? But in Yiddish, G is Daled Zayin Shin, is J. So how would you write Los Angeles? And you have this in the names also, right? Los Angeles would be written Lamed Aleph Samach, and then Angeles would be Aleph Nun, Daled Zayin Shin. Angeles Aleph Lamed Aleph Samach. In California, let's say in Hebrew, you would write it Kuf Lamed Pei Vav Nun Yud Hey. Okay, that's it. And halacha, it's an incorrect spelling. You'd have to write it California Kuf Aleph Lamed Yud Pei Aleph Reish Nun Yud Aleph. Years ago they used to write it with an ayin, but today everybody writes it with an aleph at the end. Is it California or California? And that's, by the way, the complications of writing a get, the biggest complications of writing a get is the spelling of the names. Because you have to figure out, and then you have nicknames, and you have to figure out what.
Why on Mendel they don't put the ayin after the dal?
They do. Mendel's mem. No, del. It's not del. It's not Mendel.
Oh, it's Mendel.
It's not Mandel. You have a name Mandel. It's Mendel.
I
So
thought Ketubah is Aramaic. Well, why would you write Hebrew?
No, if a guy has a Hebrew name, you write the name.
The
You
letter.
write it Hebrew?
Huh? Yeah. What?
It's different, it's a convert.
What?
Somebody in a convert, he called it to the Torah, what name for their father would he use?
Okay, you can use Ben Avram. Ben Avram. In a legal document, such as a ksuba or a get, especially a get, you'd have to write Avram Avinu. That people should know he's a convert. So again, then you have what happens, it's later, if you mind me, we'll discuss it Sunday. What happens if somebody was raised by somebody else? Let's say somebody's father passed away when they were very young, or the father just checked out, goodbye, he's not around. Okay, and then they were raised by a stepfather. Right? Such a scenario. Can you write the stepfather's name? But it's not his biological father's name. But can you write it? So then they write what's called, let's say his stepfather was Avram, who raised him. So they word right, Reuven ben Avraham HaMegadloi, who raised him.
Even when you go to the Torah, they say?
No, but it was a big deal. You should know by the Yekis, they don't call people up to the names, with names. Now I don't know, but years ago, Yekis are very precise, worse than me. They're like very precise. So before they would tell this guy, you're getting Kohen, you're getting Levi, you're getting Shlishi, Revi, and it was all organized. They would even give cards, They would say Yamod Kohen, Yamod Levi, Yamod Shlishi, Yamod Revi. They wouldn't even say the names.
Used to do it many years ago.
No name, why?
Never.
I want to say the name and the name of the father.